Okay, I hate that we have to do this, but the amount of disinformation and lies about the virus coming from our own president is spreading virally. So it's not just the virus that's spreading virally, the lies are spreading virally as well. We are going to go on a tour now, not of the lies that Donald Trump has told during his presidency. That number is about 16,000. It would take us months to go through them. We are going to go on a tour of lies, not from the entire coronavirus crisis, because that would take weeks. We're just doing a partial tour of the lies that Donald Trump has told and spread just during the last few days about coronavirus. Look at the havoc that this man is wreaking. First, Donald Trump insisted that he did everything right away and correctly when it comes to the Defense Production Act. This is a mechanism that harkens back to 1950 and the Korean War. I misstated yesterday that this was a World War II era thing. It's a Korean War era thing from 1950. The idea is that in a time of a national emergency, war, pandemic, whatever, the government can essentially force industry to produce things that are needed for the war or the pandemic. Trump invoked the act, supposedly, but didn't enforce it or use it, saying it's a tool that's ready if I need it, but I don't actually need it. Now, we need ventilators, we need masks urgently. This has been a completely incoherent explanation from Donald Trump, and the New York Times appears to have figured out the conundrum. Trump has been lobbied successfully by the United States Chamber of Commerce not to actually use the Defense Production Act because they don't like it. So Trump has been twisting himself into a pretzel the last 2 or 3 briefings to say this incoherent thing of, well, I invoked it, but I haven't used it. It's ready and I'm doing everything right. And it's a lie. And it appears to be because industry successfully lobbied him not to use it. Number 2, Trump continues to hype chloroquine and azithromycin as a possible game changer, something he thinks will be the cure for coronavirus. We've already gone over this in detail. It's not a game changer. It's a possible thing. Side effects are a big issue. Reports of heart and vision issues are starting to come in. And once again, the Surgeon General had to go on Fox News, where Trump's disinformation spreads quickly, and say, no, we're going to look at this. This is right after Fox and Friends had Dr. Oz on, spreading more of it. Here is Surgeon General Jerome Adams explaining that this is not a cure. This is not what Trump is claiming this to be.
You know, Doctor, we had Dr. Oz on at the top of this hour, and what he talked about was how promising he thinks that malaria drug, when used in concert with Z-Pak, was with one of the French doctors who treated 36 people, and their viral level all went from 100 down to 0 after just 5 or 6 days. He said his biggest problem right now, and he's starting his own clinical trials at Columbia, and he mentioned the Cleveland Clinic, I think, is going to do the same thing. He wonders, and worries about the fact that we don't have enough pills yet in this country, if that works.
Well, here's the thing about those drugs. There's may and there's actually does. And so these may be promising, and so we're trying to make them as available as possible to people across the country. We need to verify through studies that they actually work. But I also, again, want to go back to the fact that it's not practical to think we're going to treat our way out of this problem with new drugs or with ventilators or with supplies. We need to lower demand. We need more people talking about staying at home. It's why I reached out to Kylie Jenner last week. It's why my kids say, Dad, reach out to Lauren Gray and Roman Atwood and have them help these millennials understand they're spreading virus. And the more they spread, the more we're going to need these drugs, the more we're going to need ventilators and masks.
So there's an actual doctor trying to push back against Trump's hyperbole and distortion. Because he is being deceptive, he is spreading disinformation, and it already led to 1 death. I'll tell you about that later. Continuing our tour of Donald Trump's coronavirus lies of just the last few days, Trump is starting to tweet. He did it Sunday night. He did it Monday night. He did it this morning. He's starting to tweet that maybe we're going to wrap up the social distancing, the physical distancing. This is very dangerous. And meanwhile, state governors who are dealing with this in a more real way are putting in place shelter-in-place orders. We just got one yesterday here in Massachusetts, and other states are getting them as well. But meanwhile, Donald Trump is spreading flat out dangerous speculation by tweeting Sunday night that, quote, we cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself. At the end of the 15-day period, we will make a decision as to which way we want to go. Trump again tweeting this morning, we are going to get people back to work, but we're going to take care of older folks. Trump's economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, also starting to parrot this, saying we don't want the cure to be worse than the disease. And this is extremely dangerous. Number one, there is no way in hell that all we need is another 7 days. Number two, you have people who are desperate to start going out and do whatever they want, which I can understand. I mean, I want to do it also, but we can't give people any cover under which to do it. And Trump is lying here, and he shouldn't be saying this. And then lastly, one of the reasons Trump claims that he doesn't need to enforce the Defense Production Act is that GM and Ford are already making ventilators and everything's great. This is just a lie. No automaker is anywhere near ready to make ventilators. GM, General Motors, reportedly says they have a plan for starting to obtain most but not all of the parts they would need to be able to begin the manufacture of ventilators at some point in the future. It will realistically take months for them to even actually start churning out ventilators. They also don't need Trump's permission to do it, which Trump has been saying, with my permission, GM is doing this. It is lie after lie after lie, and it's going to get much, much worse. One of the things about Donald Trump is that the more difficult things get, the more likely he is to lie uncontrollably. And this is getting more and more difficult. The death toll is climbing here in the U.S. You should expect the lies to continue. My hope is that our state governors can help fight this, because Trump's causing problems. The state governors that are taking this seriously, Cuomo, Newsom, Baker, others. I know I'm missing a lot of people. He doesn't understand anything about medicine or the virus, and the governors are having to basically work against Trump in favor of sanity and reason. People around Trump keep explaining this stuff. Yesterday during the press conference, Trump started asking Dr. Birx questions that made it clear he barely knows anything about asymptomatic contagion or any of this stuff. He doesn't get pandemics. He doesn't understand virality. And this is a very bad time for this degree of weaponized ignorance, incompetence, and delusions of grandeur. And we may very quickly get into this battle between Trump saying, get back to work, and governors and probably airlines and others saying, no, we're not doing it. And that may happen sooner than later. I'd love it if you checked out a YouTube channel we're partnering with. Their content is great, and they're good friends of the David Pakman Show. The channel is called Upflip, and you can get there at davidpakman.com/upflip. Make sure you subscribe when you're there. If you own your own business, if you're thinking of starting one, if you're interested in entrepreneurship and building companies, as many of you know I am, I think you will love this, because every week Upflip gives you sort of an inside look at a successful small business. How did the entrepreneur do it? How was it built from the ground up? The stories are inspiring. I always love learning about how business owners got to where they are. And they share a ton of wisdom about mistakes, what they learned, really great insights. And Upflip uploads new videos every Wednesday featuring a totally new business. Check it out at davidpakman.com/upflip. Link is right down below underneath this video. Subscribe to their channel and click that bell icon to get notifications.